Greetings, beloved. I am Metatron, Lord of Light, and I greet you, one and all, respectfully and knowingly. I greet each of you, individually within the exact moment in which you read these living words in the vibratory essence of the eternal now. I embrace you in love. As the heralded ascension draws nigh, all around you is opening. The nature of your divine star seed is expanded into earth realms. Indeed, you are dancing with the stars of hope, love and impeccability. Dear ones, we of the angelic realm are here to support you, to offer insights of guidance, but it is up to each of you in sojourns of polarity and duality, to master your challenges. These are your avenue of learning, and it is incumbent for each of you to face and solve your problems. We assist you by putting you in touch with your own power. Our purpose is not to solve them for you, or to come between you and your own freedom of discernment and choice by giving you answers, even to the most complex of challenges. Our purpose is to reinforce your own strength, for ultimately the vast divinity of your being is not only well equipped to help you find fulfillment, but totally desirous of doing so. And dear human, in this process you will discover your higher nature of wisdom, understanding, exuberance, and peace. No one, not even an angel, can do this for you. In impeccability you will achieve every self-designed task before you. Beloved, we offer in this moment the integral energy of our light beingness, of that crystalline essence of which we are. We offer you in pure love the guidance of our wisdom for your discernment. Masters, we ask of you simply to be fully present in your hearts and minds. Discern what we say, for you are a God in process. Take what resonates of that we offer, for it is presented to you in deepest respect and love. Star dancing, expanding in love. The star dance of your life is to expand in love. But the love we speak of is not merely the emotion that you humans tend to think of as love, but rather the extraordinary magnificent energy and science of what may be termed expansive unconditional love. In this context, love is indeed a science, a vast field that is composed of a very complex vibrational resonance. So let us further define a key component of love resonance as it relates to your growth, and that is the impeccability of actuated divine will. Will, as translated into action, is the driver of your search for spiritual growth. Impeccability then is the distillation of your present experiences and knowledge into the wisdom of action. Accepting the challenge. While it is true that your thoughts create the reality you experience in duality, you in higher aspect thoughtfully and carefully compose and create the challenges that you face. These have great purpose. Whether you truly believe it or not, you write your own tests. So while positive thinking is a key frequency, positive thinking is meant to help you approach your life lessons and does not circumvent the learning process itself. You cannot just ignore or wish away the growth lessons you script for yourself in order to expand. That is because your chosen setups are in most cases outside, beyond the ability of the duality aspect of ego brain to remove or will away. You will face them, because you have in divine self willed it from higher perspective. We assure you that there is nothing more stimulating, more worthy of actualization, than your manifested desire to evolve, to change for the better. That is indeed each of your lifetime missions. It is not enough to meditate, or to visualize the desired goal being accomplished if you do not to act upon the inner voice, the drive from which your meditations and visualizations arise. Intent, focus and meditation must absolutely be teamed with action. Becoming impeccable, and eventually achieving your enlightenment does not mean, as some religions indirectly imply, that you are suddenly in a blissful state of oblivion, or in some distant state of nirvana. Masters, we tell you that you are as much a part of a nirvana now as you ever will be. You simply need to discover it within you. There will indeed be cycles within your emotional state. That is part of being human. There will be times in which you feel apathetic and depressed. Not only the problems you face, but even certain astronomical gravities can be the source of such despair. On their own, all of these must be faced, and can be surmounted. So be aware that nirvana, in your vernacular, is achieved attitudinally, and not through avoidance, ignorance or escape, but through impeccable confrontation of the reality projection that surrounds you. Earth experience, duality mastery is difficult. This is a great truth, one of the greatest truths of duality, and one commonly misunderstood. The study and mastery of life requires work. You can simply put the textbook under your pillow and sleep on it. It must be read and understood a page at a time, moment by moment. So then your full understanding and accepting that your life is a construction of setups that you planned in order to enable your spiritual growth is an even greater truth. You see, when you accept this noble truth, you have the opportunity to transcend it. That you term destiny is in truth the situations you pre-plan for your life lesson. And dears ones, that very self-scripted destiny, in your such terms, will assist you to both face your challenges and then manifest your desires, but not because you protest what you do not like. In order to experience the light of your desire, you must ignite the passion that will free it from the stronghold where it has been closely guarded. The greatest path is to accept the challenge of self-purification by being a living example of your own light rather than protesting the darkness that still exists within the world in third dimension, choosing to insulate yourself from it. Acceptance. Masters, by accepting that you are here to face challenges, then you can more robustly create the energy needed to face them. Because once it is accepted, the fact that life can be difficult no longer scares you, rather it motivates the spiritual warrior into resolve. The greatest issue you have in accepting ultimate ownership and responsibility for your actions lies in the core desire to avoid the pain of the consequences of that behavior. But we tell you that it is the confrontational courage of impeccably solving problems that provides and indeed nurtures meaningful growth in your life. Facing your problems is the serendipitous cutting edge that distinguishes between success and failure, or better said, between growth and stagnation. Problems call forth your best effort to resolve and refine courage and wisdom within the impeccable seeker. It is categorically because of stressful predicaments and obstructions that you grow mentally and spiritually. It is through the pain of confronting and resolving life puzzles and setups that you learn the greater meaning of the science of love. Dear hearts, the candid fact is that some of your most poignant accomplishments and indeed greatest growths are spawned when you are placed in the troubling crossroads of conundrum. Your greatest trials and revelations take place in times when you are outside of your comfort zone, feeling bewildered, unfulfilled, or even in a state of agonizing despair. For it is in such moments, propelled by your discomfort, that you are compelled to burst out of the confining cages and seek a better, more spiritually satisfying way of life. Impeccability, the state of grace. What then is impeccability? We are not understating the base premise when we define impeccability simply as always trying your best. But to remain impeccable requires more effort as the scope of your gained wisdom and consciousness expands. The greater your consciousness, the more you know. The more you know, the greater the responsibility to live accordingly. You are in the process of expanding your vibratory awareness, of becoming a conscious participant with the soul. You are becoming what your soul is, discovering your greater identity. Dear ones, when you grow spiritually, it is because you have opened to seek growth and are taking action, working to achieve it. Impeccability involves the deliberate extension of your beingness into evolution. Impeccability puts you in the state of grace. Impeccability does not infer that you have achieved enlightenment or have learned all you need to learn. Rather, it means you are on the only track, the right pathway to get there. So we will define impeccability in two layers, two phase formats. 1. Conditional impeccability. This is when the entity is not highly advanced, yet working toward mastery, doing one's best, utilizing knowledge to the best of one's ability to do the right thing, even when there may be ignorance and innocent misconceptions. By that we mean you truly believe what you are doing is the right course, even if it is not the full or expansive truth. All of you go through such phases. In this phase, if you make a mistake, it is an honest mistake, in which you genuinely believed you were doing what you felt is right. 2. Mastery impeccability. This is the phases of the soul and human existence that is on the cusp of mastery. One highly advanced, and walking the talk, having no inner conflict between what one believes to be the right path, and what one actuates. Both phases activate what you may term as an accelerated state of grace. Grace is assistance from the divine self to help the outcome of situations when one is trying their best. It may be thought of as the guardian angel, because in many cases that is exactly what a guardian angel is, your divine self serendipitously intervening in situations to assist you on your path. If we were to redefine what you religious texts consider as sin, it would not be in terms of the commandments, rather it would be knowledge not utilized, taking actions you know to be incorrect, actions in conflict to your highest beliefs. Wisdom is within. All of you desire wisdom greater than your own. Seek and you will find, and masters, you can find it hidden inside you. And sadly that is oft the last place you look. It takes work. You see, the divine interface between God and man is within what your academics term as the subconscious. Even your religious texts tell you that God is within you, that you are a spark of the divine. The subconscious mind, or back brain in your terms, is the part of you that is God, the portion of your greater self that contains the knowledge of all that is, the part of you that contains the Akashic records, the soul memory of everything. Since the subconscious is the divine mind within you, the goal of spiritual growth is achieved by entering into that sacred garden of wisdom. It is entered by quieting the ego mind. Meditation has ever been the gateway. It is the key to quieting the personality ego narration and allowing the voice of the divine soul to be heard. We say again, effort is required. There are no shortcuts. The reattainment of Godness is the purpose of your individual existence on the polarity plane. You are born that you might become, as a conscious individual, a physical expression of God, a divine expression in beingness. The challenge is your soul quest, your true purpose, and in physical sojourns, the clock is ever ticking. Obtaining Godhood in physicality is achieved on time release, through immaculate desire that is actuated in the physical realm by merging with the wisdom of the non-physical. Time matters. In polarity, the current shifting of paradigms and energies can throw you off center rather easily. In these quickening times, your true purpose is often difficult to subjectively define, and your understanding and ballast lies juxtaposed between illusion and perceived reality. You may feel you are living in a distortion and that nothing is exactly as it seems. In the process you can become confused and complacent. You can lose track of time. Dear ones, your lives, each moment of your physical life is precious, far more so than some of you realize, far more than most of you utilize. Time is a precious commodity, and it is finite within your duality. Each of you reading these words will at some point in the future transition out of the physical. In your vernacular, you will experience death, you will die. This is a condition of physicality as you know it. Yet so many of you act as though you will live forever. Indeed, the soul is eternal, but you will not ever be the same person, the same personality or expression that you are now, in any lifetime or in any other aspect of your beingness. You are here to learn, dear ones. You are here to learn the expressions of your own godliness within duality, and indeed duality is a gift. Life is a gift. You are here to learn how to co-create, for indeed you are co-creators of the universe, of the cosmos. You are here to achieve mastery, and so many of you are very close, very near that achievement. Seize the day, masters, until you truly value yourself. You will not be in the grace of impeccability and thus not be motivated to truly value and optimize your time. Unless you place great value on your allotted time, you will not do your best with it. Carpe diem is translated as seize the day, and this is so appropriate. You must seize each moment. So many of you, despite your good intentions, allow yourselves to be tranquilized into complacency at certain phases or within certain conditions of your chosen sojourns. Many of you waste time. Misuse time, and lifetime after lifetime can be squandered. What you do not face, what you do not resolve in any one moment or lifetime, will resurface. You will repeat the setup until you successfully solve it. And that is indeed a great truth. Masters, utilizing your time in duality is quintessential, and that is a complex undertaking, for it necessitates that you seek impeccability. It requisites love of self, for until you genuinely value yourself, you truly do not value your life and time. And until you value your time, you will not be compelled to maximize how you spend it. It is natural. Discipline is the basic set of tools to solve life problems. Without discipline, it is difficult for you to have the driver required to focus on the work of solving your problems. Simply stated, you can become immobilized, apathetic, complacent, or lazy. On the ladder of ascension, you are moving up, setting still, or moving down. In third-dimensional physics, there is a law that states that energy that is highly organized will naturally degrade when not in dynamic state. It is easier by natural law to be in a state of complacency in the physical plane than to be in an upwardly mobile condition. That is clearly logical. It is the law of love that motivates all souls into greater consciousness, and that requires dynamics work. Laziness is in a real sense one of your biggest obstacles, because work means swimming against the tide. Seize the day. Perfect order. Some of you say and feel that everything works out as it should, all is in perfect order. But masters, that concept is something of a paradox, and like a face card, it is upside down either way you look at it. Do you understand? From the higher perspective, all is in perfect order, but from the perspective of humankind within duality, it is not. If it were, there would be no need for lesson, no need for what you term reincarnation. One need but take a look around and know that the plight of humankind on the planet Earth is far from being perfect. Indeed, it will not work out as it should until you make it so. This applies in micro and macro. There is much to manage, much to review, all in time, and masters, it will occur. We offer some of the linger issues for review and discernment. Hidden ego, spiritual one-upmanship. Many of you are leaders and teachers and have worked long and hard to acquire an advanced level of knowledge in the spiritual truths. This is admirable, but it leads to a crossroad of decision. A human on the path of mastery must avoid the trappings of ego, or it will fall in atrocity. A leader must ever honor its soul voice and follow their internally directed path in order to ascend rather than fall. This is an essential compass for all on the advanced course of mastery. Without inner soul review and calibration, one cannot see the true direction home. Understand then that with continued advancement comes the need for humility. How many of you have attended metaphysical gatherings only to be somewhat put off by someone who make it a point to let you know how far they travel in their dreams, how many great visions and celestial teachers they see in their higher realms? The implication being that they are advanced in mastery, and want to be sure everyone knows it. This is an understandable pitfall, but is not the true walk of integrity. Spiritual one-upmanship is rampant in New Age circles, yet most offenders would not even be aware they are coming across in such a pompous manner. There are many covert trappings of ego within spiritual circles. No one is exempt. Leaders and teachers who advance to a certain level are particularly susceptible to this trapping of ego. When they begin to achieve a following, most that have it don't recognize it. Are you one of these? It happens to most at some point. Dear ones, humility is the way of the true spiritual leader, Yet it is so easy to blindly fall into self-aggrandizement. We tell you in love, dear ones, that it happens to all of you. It happens in all of your lifetimes, the move and shift day to day, in and out of integrity within duality, whether you are a teacher or a student, and all of you are both. None of you are above it, and that is why it is necessary to recalibrate through the infinite mirror of truth, of self-review within the detached observer within self. There is such a fine line between self-love and ego. The paradox is that the former is a necessity of impeccability and the latter is a hindrance to it. On the path of mastery you will be forced many times to choose between love and power. And power is very seductive and often well disguised. Pride comes before the fall. Many have risen to great heights in spiritual achievement only to lose it all by becoming blinded by ego. There are two forms of power. One is used for control, political power. The other is true power, the benevolent power of love. But as you progress in your awareness, you will find the distinction of power less a case of good and evil and more of a case between love and deceptive concepts of power. It is about more subtle energies. There are energies that desire one movement or direction, and there are energies that would necessitate a different and more refined understanding. The challenge remains in putting all the pieces together, and this is not an easy task. Sexual integrity. True love is a frequency. It is not emotional passion, it is not romance, and it is not sexual. In your terms, above duality, in your true essence, you are androgynous, integral, whole and non-gendered. Only in the polarity plane of the physical realm does gender orientation occur. In your present time and plane of existence, the physical drive for sexual fertilization is within the current DNA model to preserve the survival of the species. This is neither needed or present in your higher self, above duality. Sexuality is another area that is very complex, very confusing for many of you. It is an area that requires impeccability. Throughout the eons of time there have been many systems of belief, many varied expressions, experiments and modalities within the various cultures across the planet on sexual expression within biology. Some were very inhibited, others extremely liberal. The deeper bonds of biological and spiritual love lie at the basis of all personal and cultural relationships. But there is a higher love that transcends well above your cultural and religious programming of sexuality. Religion and culturally pressed morality standards in your present paradigm influence a great deal of oppression in terms of sexual expression. The resulting overly specific sexual orientation, then, reflects a firm division in consciousness. It not only separates the male from the more nurturing emotional impulses, but also can separate the female from her own freedoms to project strength and intellect. It effectively formulates a restrictive culture in which mind and heart, strength and nurturing are divorced into polarity via gender. Intimacy and sexual expression are vehicles for expressing non-physical energy in physical ways. Sexuality can be sacred, or it can be mere lust. When it is a spiritual expression of physicalized soul union, it is experienced as far more than a physical act and is done from higher chakra intent and manifestation. In this instance, the vital life energy expended is amplified, sanctified and returned to the energy field of the participants and increases their vitality and balance. Each records the soul imprint of the other. This is, however, not the case when it is expressed on physical urge alone for the sole purpose of sexual gratification. When sexuality is enacted purely for physical hungers, the vital energy is simply expended, spent, and is not returned to the human energy field. Indeed, in some cases, the act, when based on selfishness and gratification alone, leaves the electromagnetic field somewhat ruptured, and energy bleed can occur. Most humans in your present society have conflicted issues around their sexuality and sexual expression. Sexuality is a format that can merge two souls into blissful unity as one, but it can also express one as one. It is the qualitative aspect of the participant's intent that determines the level of specific chakric flow, whether or not it is done in highest elucidation. You see, it is not ironic that many of you will achieve the highest balance in your lives only after your body ceases to produce sexual hormones. Yet the release of Kundalini, of Chi through the sexual act is among the most powerful energies available to mankind. It has been used for good and has fallen into wasteful misappropriation. The key is intent. When there is consensual attraction teamed with caring and mutual respect, it can be exquisitely sensual, beautiful, and sacred. It is capable of transporting the spirit to higher realms, companioning the trinity of body, mind and soul. When this occurs, particularly among members of the same soul guild, there is an energy imprint imparted and a synergistic effect that is extremely beneficial on many levels. Sexuality is the natural expression of love that flowers between souls. It can be the highest natural expression of love between people, regardless of gender. Yet it can become a source of guilt, a source of control, and a source of bias and judgment. It can become a source of self-aggrandizement and addiction, particularly among those of the male gender, because the male drive to reproduction is hardwired, so to speak, in the corporeal. As such, it is often misunderstood, and even more often misused. Relationships should be based on agreement, and the freedom of this expression should be honored, yet optimally aligned with the higher chakras. Dominance of one over the other is not congruent with true love in relationships of any nature. High intent within sexuality is extremely beneficial on all levels, physical, mental and the spiritual. It can be a source of rejuvenation and regeneration. Yet some choose sexual expressions that border on debauchery, manipulation, greed, self-aggrandizement, conquest and a sadly misaligned addiction to physical orgasm. Without judgment, we tell you that sexual energy is a gift of sublime exquisite energy, and when used in higher intent, offers a glimpse into the sacred orgasmic bliss of the celestial realms. It is life force and should be used wisely, encompassing the body, mind and spirit. When sexual expression is duly chosen, its responsible unfoldment with highest intent, through heart sharing and love, is an aspect of crystalline impeccability. Unresolved energy blockage. Masters on the final walk of mastery, most of your major issues have been dealt with, and we honor you for that. What remains may however be elusive to confront, and it is important to confront any and all unresolved issues and energies. We say this without judgment. We point this out in order to assist you, for in time all must be dealt with. The more advanced you become, the more difficult it can be to sweep up the last remaining bits of unresolved issues, because they are often well hidden. The unresolved energy, the final issues, can become polarized and repelled outside your mental field, forgotten in the residues of many lifetimes. Dear hearts, take time to self-review in multidimensional, Americana aspect. Please determine what is left to be worked on. Polarity physics. Masters, the closer you get to light, and the stronger you attract the dark. Light attracts bugs. The more you advance, the more criticism you will draw, and that requires wisdom to deal with. The polarity aspect of the law of opposite attraction herewith comes into play. From a state of detachment, what takes place is electromagnetics. Pure positive energy has the greatest magnetic attraction to negative energy. So as your light shines brighter, the magnetic to polar opposite increases. It can be managed, but you must have the light, humility, the strength and discipline to deflect it. So dealing with the fronts, the hard energy of jealousy, hatred and anger are an important piece of the puzzle in achieving the master level of impeccability. How do you deal with this? Don't take anything personally is perhaps easier said than done, but it is quite true. Your Bible talks of turning the other cheek, but this doesn't mean you apologize when someone steps on your foot. Part of the paradox is indeed standing up for your truth, but it does mean you don't step on the feet of others. intentionally or otherwise. Do you understand? Standing in your truth is peaceful action. It is a benevolent expression of aggression that allows grace and dignity to be retained on both sides of any conflict or attack. It sends the attacking energy back to its source, but without malice and with love. Each of you has an opportunity to stand in impeccability within any conflict. You can deal with conflict without engaging it. Do you understand? Deal with, face it from a stance of emotional detachment, as the observer, and that is not easy, yet it is the way of the master. It is how you don't take anything personally, you detach the emotional reaction. Each of you has an opportunity to be impeccable every day. The scenario in which you recognize your own failings, your own conflict with integrity, is the day you encompass mastery-level impeccability, and indeed it is a journey. Likewise, the day you stand in your truth with willingness to recognize another person's truth, you encompass integrity. The divine mind is only achieved, only accessed through crystalline Merkana resonance, within crystalline thought waves. Crystalline thought is above emotion, above petty feelings. It is achieved in detachment. It is the crystalline lake of Shambhala, of true nirvana, as smooth as glass, no waves distorting its mirrored visage. Closing. In closing, we offer our blessings and gratitude for your seeking what is more precious than your life and its divine purpose. Your role now and tomorrow is ever to seek fulfillment, understanding and impeccable unfoldment. Your divine mission can and will create a beautiful merging of purposeful experiential reality of dancing in joyous starlight and projecting the rays of that crystalline beauty to all around you. There is no ecstasy more supreme than achieving the divine mind. It is why you are here. You are of the realm of creatorship, of mastery, and you are far closer to its physical manifestation than you know. Dear ones, you created the ascension, and it is dawning now. We honor you. The heralded time you have dreamed of awaits you, dear ones. I am Metatron, and you are beloved. And so it is.